Hello, and welcome to my gallery. I'm Tim Packer. I have Sheila Davis with me here in the gallery today.
Hello.
And Sheila is going to be one of the artists that's going to be participating in our group show coming up, Crossing Paths, and that opens here at the gallery on November 3rd. And so I've got Sheila in here today. She's going to tell us a little bit about her life as an artist and a little bit about her life. So, welcome to the gallery.
Hi Tim, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming down here.
Good, thanks for having me.
So first off, maybe you could just give us kind of the Coles Notes kind of version of kind of how you went from being a kid who likes to draw, which we all started as, and now you're actually kind of doing this for a living.
I'm supposed to remember that.
No, you can just give it to us very casually off the fly. I know it's a long story, but...
I actually found my very first painting I ever did at my mother's this week. It was in 1986, so that was the year my son was born. And I had taken a watercolor class at Gallery on the Lake with Edwin Matthews, like a lot of us did, and I got hooked from that moment on. And I worked in watercolor for about 10 years, and then acrylic for about 4 or 5 years, and then I've been in oil ever since.
And so your style now is very distinctive, and you've really matured into, like I know a Sheila Davis as soon as I see it, but that didn't happen right away.
No.
Tell me about some of the other types of artwork that you did while you were kind of learning and trying to find
Well,
your voice.
when I painted watercolors, of course, I was beginning, so I was kind of all over the place and painted pretty little landscapes that you kind of run-of-the-mill things that you see. And then at one point, when I flipped to acrylic, you have these epiphanies, and I tended to work in series. I did a series of sky paintings called Atmospheres for about 5 years, and then I did one of wetlands and swamps and close-ups of that kind of thing for about 4 years, and that peters out and you get bored with it. And then I've been painting trees now for about 6
years?
6 or 7 years.
I remember, because we've known each other from, I think the very first memory I have of you is back at the Toronto Art Expo. We were both showing there. That was about 13 years ago. 14 years ago, I think so. But I remember we're both members of the East Central Ontario Art Association, which is a great group. If you're looking for an art organization to join, where you can just get out and paint with other artists, this is a great thing. It doesn't matter whether you're a beginner, whether you're a pro, whether you're 23 or 93. But I remember it was the first outing I went to. And you and I were there, we were painting at Algonquin, and I saw that I hadn't seen this work before.
Right.
And I remember I was just blown away.
And I was plein air painting, and I'm not really a plein air painter.
And I asked you, I said, are you still working another job? And you said, well, yeah, I am. And I remember I said to you, well, get ready, because that's not gonna last for long. Yeah. Because I knew as soon as I saw this style start, that this was gonna be big. And literally within about a year, from then, if not less, you were just inundated.
Well, when I worked evenings, so I always painted every morning. So I always considered myself a full-time artist. I just didn't have evenings with my family. I went to work at 3 o'clock. So, but that ended about 6 years ago. The business just closed, and it was at that point I was making the same amount as my paycheck. So it was an easy transition, and then looking back.
And you had that transition where instead of paintings piling up in your basement, you had the galleries calling you.
I don't have any paintings in my studio.
Exactly.
Very few at a time.
So that's the difference too. You can't paint at that level when you're going to do another job too.
No, you can't. No, I got really productive when that other job ended. I mean, I was fairly productive.
Yeah.
But certainly I outgrew my workspace in about 3 months. Had to renovate the garage and move out there and have a proper studio with proper ventilation.
So tell me a little bit now about your process. So you paint on wooden panels, right?
Yes, I started painting on wood about, I think 3 or 4 years ago. Laurie Scantos told me to try wood panels, and I did, and I love them. And I haven't gone back. I've done a couple canvases, but they have bounce to them. I really like painting on the wood. It has a real drag, it has a tooth to it, the gesso is different. And I use clear gesso, so you don't have to cover, there's wood showing there, you can leave the wood showing, and it gives it a real organic, kind of a raw, unfinished look to it.
And it's also, like, your work is very modern, It's a modern take on kind of landscape painting, but I love the fact that the wood shows through.
Yeah,
because
I really like it too.
That's a tie into the group of 7 and their wooden panels
yeah.
and the wooden McMichael. So it's a really, really nice mix.
It's a nice feeling. You don't,
Yeah.
you're not stressed to finish the edges. You can just leave that expressive brush stroke and not have to cover it up or,
And you paint in oils?
Paint in oils, pure oil, not water-based, just pure oil.
And so when you start a painting, do you prime it? Do you put liquid on? Do you prime the can?
No.
What do you
No,
do?
well, I use clear gesso on the wood, 2 coats of clear gesso, and then I do my sketch. I'm not a drawer, I have no patience to draw, so I do my sketch right on the panel with an orange underpainting, similar you use your red, but I do the sketch in that, and with the wood it tends to bleed a lot.
So do you
get a real abstract.
So do you use like turpentine then to thin it down?
Very thin. I work very
So
thin until the last
So that's
hour.
traditional, kind of starting with the
yeah.
thin washes with turps and then gradually getting
Turpentine
thicker.
dripping all over the floor of my studio.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So, and just tell me a little bit, we're just gonna finish off here in a sec, but tell me what it is, because you're actually, we're very similar in the fact that we're drawn to clutter. And the kind of close in.
Yes.
So what is it you look for when you're out there hiking and you're looking for
I
something
don't
to
look,
paint?
it grabs me. It's when you're walking or driving in the car or moving anywhere and you'll see this, it's kind of going off here and the light will hit a branch and then you'll go to find that light and it's gone.
Yeah.
Because you've already passed it and you can't get that moment back again. So it's those little tidbits of light and the movement of the light and the trees and like the clutter, the detritus, that's the word for it. Or detritus.
The fancy word.
Yeah, the fancy word. Yeah, that's what, it's the way the light hits the texture.
I like what you said, it just grabs you.
I like the pokey stuff.
There's a term in photography called chimping. I don't know if you've ever heard that. Chimping. And that's when you see
something. That's not attractive.
But it's exactly what you described, because it's when you see something and you go, ooh, ooh, ooh.
And it's gone.
And
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you're just out there being open to something grabbing you.
And
then when it grabs you, you just know.
I'm not allowed to drive the car anymore because the camera's in hand.
Yeah, same thing.
My husband frowns upon that, so I get to sit in the passenger side with the camera out the window and get a lot of really good pictures, because that's when you get those little hidden.
I've gotten a lot of great photos from the highways.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to finish off with one last question, because we do have a lot of aspiring artists that end up watching my YouTube channel. So if you were to give one piece of advice to someone, whether they're an old person who's retiring and kind of looking to get back into their art, or whether it's someone who's young who is thinking about a career in art, what would be a piece of advice you would give to someone?
Well, as I say in my book, try to have some idea where you want to go. If you're a retired person starting off, do you really want another career? Because as you and I know, it's 24/7 job. There's no turning it off.
It's hard work.
Once you get rolling on it, you get rolling very fast.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work. People don't think it is. If you're a younger person, get yourself organized. Know where your work is. Look at it as a business. Don't just look at it as a hobby. Look at it. Go to work every day at 9 o'clock in the morning. Whether you brush your teeth or not, because half the time in the studio we don't. But look at it as a business and get yourself organized and get your CV organized so that when somebody does approach you, you're ready. You're not standing there with your mouth open going, oh my God, what do I do next? So your gallery says, can I hang your work? Can we have a show in 3 weeks? And you've got to be ready for that when it happens, because it does happen very quickly. You and I both know that.
That's great advice, and that's what gets down to too. Like
it's professionalism.
We all know lazy artists, and we know successful artists, but we don't know any lazy successful artists.
No, there is no lazy successful artist.
It's a lot of hard work.
It is, it really is.
But the payoff is, when you can get up every day and do what you love. Like this was the dream. I don't know for you, but for me, this was the dream.
It was kind of a slow inkling thing. Now I can't imagine doing anything else. But I never dreamt of being an artist. I wanted to cut up brains.
You wanted to be a doctor?
And medical technologist is what I went to school for. I failed.
Well, thank God that you're doing this, because while we do need more doctors, we can always use more beautiful art.
Absolutely, yeah. It was a slow transition, and now I can't imagine doing anything. It crept up in my life, and now that's all I do.
I say to people,
24/7.
be very careful if you start a hobby as an artist, because if you're not careful, it can consume your life.
Oh, it can, yeah.
And in a good
And
way.
if you're good at it, it will,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to finish it there. Thank you very much
You are welcome.
for coming down here. And you're going to be
I'm going to be here.
for the show. So
Yep.
the show is November 3rd, Crossing Paths. We're going to have a number of great artists. The whole idea of the title, Crossing Paths, is for me one of the favorite things that I found about being a professional artist is the paths that I cross of other fabulous artists, where you not only get to know them, but you become friends, and we get to paint together and socialize. And so I'm very excited about that show. And if you want to come downstate, you'll see Sheila.
And I will come and paint one day. I'm not sure what day yet, but I'll let you
That's
know
super.
ahead of time.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
great.
I'm
Thank
Tim
you very
Packer.
much. And I'm Sheila Davis.
Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Yes.